and Progressive Labor Party. And
so one thing that Boots and I share is we're the least radical members of our families.
yeah, and now he heads up the Haiti Action Committee, or one of the heads, actually. I'm sorry,
in Oakland,
in Oakland, California.
So you continue your organizing in Oakland. Oscar Brand.
Right now, you know, it's so hard to put it like this. If you've ever dealt with musicians, it's hard to get them to the studio or to the show on time. So the idea of organizing at the same time as being a musician is something that I've really tried to
pointing
figure.
Fingers at me. Really, pretty prompt.
tried to figure out how to do. So you know, I shy away from people saying that I am an organizer. I have been an organizer, and I try to lend my music to struggles and campaigns as it comes about. And I've been involved in different campaigns as it goes around. But there are a lot of musicians that claim that they are organizers, and I don't want to be. I don't want to.
But what do you think the issues are important to organize around now in Oakland and around the country?
Well, I think that those are the same issues that are important to organize around all over the world. What people are worried about is how are they going to have a roof over their heads? How are they going to put food on the table? And you know, because of that, what wages are they getting paid? I think that a lot of the radical movements have left behind some of those regular, everyday things. You know, when I talk to people in Oakland and throughout my time growing up in Oakland, people have said to me, you know, what you're talking about, this, you know, revolution, socialism, communism, all of that is great, but I got to pay the bills. There was a time when that was one and the same thing. Right now, there is a lot of focus on the macroeconomic problems and what's left. Who's left to deal with the everyday nuts and bolts of people's lives are not the radical element. And so I think that we need to put some revolutionary politics onto some reform struggles that have to do with feeding people, have to do with people getting higher wages, some militant union work, basically, things like that.
So I want to talk about organizing, doing music under President Obama. Tom Morello, when it came to Bush, you were really out there. You made a video that closed down Wall Street.
Sure.
Your concert at the Democratic convention in Los Angeles closed down the concert. Talk about the different organizing you did then, and what are you doing now?
You got a big event that needs to be closed down. You get Rage Against the Machine to show up. It's likely that it will. Well, I mean, I didn't choose to be a guitar player. That chose me. So with that as my de facto calling throughout my career, you know, since I started playing guitar at 17 years old, I've tried to find ways to wend my music with my politics.
Now, weren't you as the scheduler for Senator Alan Cranston?
Yeah, I was Alan Cranston's scheduling secretary for a couple of years, which was basically just a day job. It was the one job I could get with my Harvard degree. I had no work experience. I couldn't get hired to sell Iron Maiden T-shirts on Hollywood Boulevard, but they would hire me to do Senator Cranston's schedule. And so, but I mean, that was actually very instructive, because during my time at Alan Cranston, you know, God rest his soul, he was as progressive a senator as you'd want. He still spent most of his time on the phone asking rich guys for money. That was my day-to-day experience, which was very instructive, and it made me think that there was a pressure in that office to sort of conform to this rigid decorum, which was, you know, as a dyed-in-wool punk rocker, was just not going to fly. For example, one day a woman called up, wanted to speak to the center. He was unavailable, so I fielded her call, and she was complaining because Mexicans were moving into her neighborhood. She wanted to let the senator know that she was opposed to that, and I said, "Ma'am, you're a damn racist, and you can go to hell," thinking that I had done the senator's good work that day. Well, I was yelled at for about 2 weeks, and, you know, up and down the ladder, and I realized then that if I'm in a job where I can't tell damn racist to go to hell, then I'm not in the correct job. So that's when I vowed that I would continue with my guitar playing and perhaps leave the senatorial work to someone else.
What about your guitar style?
My guitar style was, I mean, it was born and bred of late 70s 7-Eleven parking lot rock. I grew up loving the hard rock bands of the 70s, but then it was groups like The Clash and Public Enemy that I could relate to the lyrics, and I tried to incorporate styles that went beyond traditional guitar playing. In Rage Against the Machine, I was the DJ as the guitar player, and so I started incorporating styles that went beyond sort of the normal Chuck Berry, Keith Richards riffs, and until I found my own voice on the instrument.
You were also influenced by Pete Seeger? Sure,
very much. In my when not playing with Street Sweeper or with Rage Against the Machine, I have a solo project called The Night Watchman, and that's I came to folk music late, but I really love it, and I've made a couple of records and have another one in the can now. And I've found that I've always been drawn to music that is heavy. And I realized in discovering folk music and music of Pete Seeger, in particular the early Dylan and the Springsteen acoustic albums, that music doesn't require Marshall stacks in order to be very heavy. And that 3 chords and the truth can be just as devastating as any powerful riff.
Is there a song from Night Watchman you'd like us to play?
Sure, you could play the song Whatever It Takes off the Fabled City CD.
Storm clouds won't bother to gather. She cashed in, cut the tether. She's gone, it's no mistake. The angels have come too late. They've come too late.
Most of the Night Watchman songs are self-referential to the point of, they're sort of myopic in that way. Night Watchman songs are about the Night Watchman being the Night Watchman and sort of finding personal redemption through struggling for social justice, and that song certainly does that.
Boots Riley, your album, more than 9 years ago now, about 10 years ago, famous CD cover, the Twin Towers blowing up.
Yeah.
For people who aren't familiar with it now, how did that shape and the reaction to that? That was before 9/11.
Mm-hmm. You said how did it
affect the way you deal with music today and the response to it?
I'm not really aware of it changing the way that I deal with music. I got into music specifically to deal with those issues that came up because of that. Because of that controversy with the album cover,
they wanted
I was
you to
on.
remove it after 9/11.
Well, not just the controversy really came because I put out a press release that said that the atrocity that happened on 9/11 was nothing in comparison to the atrocities that the U.S. has done throughout the world. And I name-checked one, which was that just before that, and right now it's, I'm blanking on it, but the World Court had found the U.S. guilty of killing 30,000 people in Nicaragua, of funding death squads. And the U.S. thumbed their nose at that decision. And I put that out in a press release, and this got what I said in that press release got the right-wing journalists in a frenzy, more so than the album cover. And but the point is that that's what I got into doing the music for in the first place. As you said, I started out as an organizer. I didn't get into doing music just so that I could figure out how to, quietly, do my thing and hope nobody cares what I'm saying. My approach has been the same since.
Which song should we go out with?
We do a cover of a hard-rocking cover of MIA's Paper Planes, which is the first single from the Ghetto Blaster EP, so I think rocking
And
that
tell us about it.
Well, I changed the lyrics to make it more radical, and he played the guitar to make it harder.
To make it more radical.
Let's go out with, let's fly away with Paper Planes. Tom Morello, Boots Riley, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm a big fan.
I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me
me at the border, I got one to my name. If you come around, hey, we working all day. Your life gon' pass you in a second if you wait. I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me at the border, I got one to my name. If you come around, hey, we working all day. Your life gon' pass you in a second if you wait. Just like Jesse James when I'm sitting on trains. Every step we're getting, still we're clocking that game. Dog food for dinner, the world is in flames. Bonafide hustlers making that change. Just like Jesse James when I'm sitting on trains. Every step we're getting, still we're clocking that game.